So, like I said earlier, being able to adapt the anatomy of the wave gives us our ability to target different fibers in order to get different physiological responses. One of the main ways that we visualize this and can see this is in what we call a strength and duration curve. So this is just a kind of crude diagram of a strength and duration curve. So what the strength duration curve means is that for any given intensity, so remember that was amplitude, so the height of the wave, that's what we're going to control when we turn up the knobs or the buttons on the E-stim and asking them what they feel. So for any given intensity, changing the pulse duration, so changing the shape of the pulse, essentially, the pulse duration, which was that length, right, the width. You could also talk about phase duration, because if we're talking a biphasic waveform, right, if the phase is half of the pulse. So by changing the pulse or the phase duration, it will directly affect the strength of the response in either the nerve or the muscle. So what this shows is we have our A beta fibers. So remember, those were going to be our larger, faster sensory. We have our A alphas, which are our motor. A deltas, which was one of our pain, our nocioceptor nerves. So we're getting smaller. C fibers, and then we have directly muscle fibers. And so for a given intensity, for a relatively low duration, short duration, we can target those A betas. If we wanted to keep that same intensity but target the A alphas and the A deltas for what we will do for type 2 pain relief, or sorry, level 3 pain relief, then we would have to keep increasing our duration to be able to target those. If we wanted to get to our C fibers, we have to have an even longer duration, and if we wanted to get muscle, we would have to have the longest duration. And you can see even by this curve that there's some places where we would have to really even increase our intensity to be able to get out. So we'd have to have long durations and long intensities to get out to some of these levels. So a short duration requires a higher intensity for a response. So if we wanted to keep our duration down here, but wanted to target A delta fibers, we'd have to make sure our intensity is up here, versus if we were trying to do A betas, we could have our intensity much lower. So again, this is our level 1 pain relief. Here we're talking about our level 3. Here we're talking about our level 2. So going back to our pain theories. The longer the duration allows a lower intensity for the same response. Or if we're trying to target these things out here, it gets even that we'd have to have high intensities and high durations in order to target, which is one of the reasons why C fibers, right, were involved in our level 2 pain relief, which we kind of called pain inhibits pain. And part of that is because this intensity has to be so high, that's kind of a painful stimulus. So the long duration and the high intensity to get over here gives us that C fiber stimulation, so we overemphasize that pain, and so our body releases the enkephalins and everything in our central nervous system so that we can have pain relief from the initial and original onslaught and stimulus. So this is just another view of that from your book. So a little more, they have, a little more of the numbers on it. You don't have to worry about the numbers, but you can see again that the A betas, A alphas are those motors, A deltas, and C, and then muscle would even be further over here. And in order to target these, the intensity, so the current strength, as well as the duration have to be affected.